Welcome back to the Dark Corner. I am your host, Cheese Film, and today's movie is Barbarella. Barbarella is a 1968 French-Italian film by Roger Vadim. Barbarella is a 1968 science fiction film directed by Roger Vadim, based on the French comic series of the same name by Jean-Claude Forest. The film stars Jane Fonda as the title character and representative of the United States government sent to find the scientist Duran Duran, who has created a weapon that can destroy humanity. The supporting cast includes John Philip Law, Anita Pellenberg, Milo O'Shea, Marcel Marceau, David Hemmings, Hugo Tognazzi, and Claude Dalfin.
That's a lot of foreign names.
It's
Marceau. He's the only famous mime.
Oh, he's a mime?
Yeah, he's the mime. That's it. There's no more other... Oh, and then this guy's also a mime. Nobody knows this guy's name. It's the only guy they know. And his voice was overdubbed by a whole different guy. So he doesn't talk in the movie.
You know, that's funny. Watching this, I was like, I wonder if they are dubbed because the guy on the ice planet, the kid catcher, he looked super dubbed. And I was wondering if he was like how in like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah, it's not just like ADR. It's like the whole thing seems that way. Yeah. It probably is. I didn't see anything that said that everybody recorded it in their own language, and then when they stopped talking, I start talking.
Right. No, and they were all mouthing English.
Yeah.
Which is, for this being a French movie, a little interesting.
Yeah.
To do it that way.
But then that's the biggest market. You might as well do it that way.
Very true. Very true. Jane Fonda is actually still alive. She's 86 years old.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know that. The movie came out in 1968, and she's a full-grown woman in this. I figured she was born 25 years before this. She might not be alive today, but no, she's 86. She's still kicking around.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I knew she was still alive. And took it for granted. And you're like, hey, she's still alive.
Yeah, look at that. Barbarella is one of those pulp heroes from the early days. People like Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
she's right up there with them. And I don't know. Obviously, Flash Gordon came first.
Oh yeah,
with the film serials and all that. And you can kind of see this following a formula that had presented beforehand.
Yeah, because they did combine them in the movies too.
Yeah. And I find this one to be kind of more tailored for the ladies in a way. Like they've got the poppier songs, they've got the more female powered, obviously, hero here.
Right.
And it's all centered around really what would a woman do? What would a woman think? I think in the 60s.
Because she crash lands her car every time. And she falls down all the time.
She's got a full shag spaceship too. I don't know where that came from, but it's
funny that this is what's good about this is you see it that way, and I just recognize the women's movement and women's equality is all over this.
And, I bet it is, especially with being of the time of 1968.
That kind of started. It didn't really get moving until like the 70s, but that's all that hippie stuff.
Right.
Bred that.
She also, I guess it's a very female empowering movie because every single person she wants to sleep with, she ends up sleeping with. Nobody.
That too, the whole sexual revolution.
All that is very open. They're not. Well, that's weird.
She was like, it is weird. Why don't you want to just take these pills?
Why don't you take these pills? Why do we have to do it this barbaric way? Yeah. But then it does it. And she's like, oh, maybe this isn't that bad.
Oh, we don't have to take the pills, she says to Dad. Why don't we?
Yeah, why don't we?
He wants to do it with the pill way.
Really? Didn't expect that guy to die.
Excuse me. Yeah, the device sends people to the fourth dimension. And they can't ever come back. And all the people that helped her out in the beginning, except for, what's his name? The bird guy. Yeah. The angel.
Oh, did I write his? I did.
Pygram,
something like that. who
I think something happened to him.
I don't know if he was a reference to something else. I don't understand why he's blind. Why
Well, because the bad guy, which is a woman, sorry, the great tyrant, ruined his eyes. They say that. He just mentions it and then sends it to that labyrinth thing. And yeah.
Very interesting labyrinth set there. I think
that was pretty good.
I think the Jim Henson's Labyrinth kind of looked to that because there's a couple wide shots where you see the city on the hill and then that nice labyrinth.
Yeah.
That to me reminded me of when you see the castle on the hill with the huge labyrinth too.
I also probably inspired Time Bandits because at the end there's a big labyrinth with the bad guys at the end.
Yeah.
And it looks really good like that too.
A lot of cool sets in this.
I think the best part of the movie was the sets and that weird psychedelic. We're going through space, but it's like liquid stuff.
I was
because it's not a good movie.
It's really not a great movie.
It's not.
It feels like it's lacking a lot in story, really.
Yeah, it seems like I read one review that called it sketches, comedy sketches, and that's really
kind
what
of
it
put
feels
together.
like. Yeah,
like these are episodes.
Yeah, which makes sense. And let me tell you this: this was the first comic book movie. It was a movie from a comic book. Those other ones like Flash Gordon and stuff were serials first. So this one was actually the first. It's just a movie and it's a comic book movie, and I'm sure they took their inspiration for how to do it from the serials.
Most likely.
Yeah.
You see a lot of the same effects in this as you see in like Flash Gordon, especially with the flying.
Yeah.
The angel in this and then the owl guy.
Plus all the skylines and all that sets in that. I think that they took a lot of that, which is probably supposed to look like a comic book.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, they did it in Barbarella and it worked good.
Why not? Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to say. First of all, it was re-released after Star Wars. That's where the Queen of the Galaxy stuff comes from.
Oh, I was wondering because she's not the Queen of the Galaxy.
No, she has nothing to do with being Queen of the Galaxy.
This is not even like a hierarchy like that.
Right.
She's an ambassador from the Earth.
Yeah. And then Flash Gordon came out in like early 80s, like 80 or 81. So right in that same time, you know what I mean? They're all doing it. And I think Dilo De Laurentiis produced Flash Gordon too. Probably.
So when we get to Flash Gordon, we'll have to address
and we'll know,
very erotic opening, very erotic scenes in this. And I'm wondering how they got this past the censor board.
Well, she's covered up. And that's... it looks like she's floating around. That's the most famous opening.
Yeah,
it's a huge famous opening. So she's floating around, taking her spacesuit off, and all she's doing is rolling around on a plexiglass table.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
It does, and it didn't really start breaking the illusion until the helmet came back. Like she threw off the helmet and it rolls back.
I thought that was cool. I did that totally. That sold the illusion for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, how do they do this in water? How do they do it? Because she is moving very fluidly, almost as if she's floating. I thought it was either wires, but she's not.
That's what I thought. I thought it was wires. Nope, she's rolling around.
And then the helmet came, and I find it funny that I don't think it was supposed to come back because when it does come back, she tries harder to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I think that's really funny.
I do too.
But you do see nudity. Her upper body is shown.
Sometimes, yeah.
And the censor board back then was real hard.
It was not rated originally. And in America, it was censored. Like there wasn't boobies and stuff.
So it was like,
but now like this version you have all the Queen of the Galaxy stuff is the regular version. Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of the titles, Maurice Binder did the titles, and I saw it at the end. I'm like, why do I know that name? He did like 16 James Bond movies. Like doing titles and stuff is what he's known for, and that's. When they wanted the titles to be spectacular or whatever, they went to him.
Oh.
And you notice that the words come out and cover her up all the time. So that's one way they can get past the censors.
And then when she stands up, it's framed just below everything, or just above everything.
When she was 36 years old.
And to go back to the feminist movement, her being in a full spacesuit and coming out of that is a good way to show a social evolution of being free. Like as a woman, you're kind of locked away in just a blanket suit, and she is breaking those norms and being free. She's not in a spacesuit ever again. She's very open. They never cover her face again. She's changing her outfit all the time.
7 times.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. She's constantly getting ripped out of her clothes and getting a new outfit. Like it's like they're trying to sell toys.
Oh yeah, it would be like that.
Yeah, like here's your new outfit. You got to put this on. Like if this movie was made today,
Luke Skywalker or Bespin Luke Skywalker.
Exactly. And I don't know if this movie spawned toys out of it. Probably collectors.
None of that stuff. It would have been after.
Yeah.
Like probably this century that they're going to sell toys for this stuff. That wasn't a thing. And it's not a kid's movie.
It's not a kid. It's really not a kid's movie. Even though it, like Flash Gordon, I would say, is a kid's movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is like for older teens to adults. Like it's
not even older teens back in the day. It's for adults.
Yeah. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of more explicit things in this movie that I was thinking this was going to be just a campy Flash Gordon kind of knockoff.
It is really, with nudity and sex.
Yeah. Like it does a lot of cool things too. Like when they're in the layer of I forgot what they call it, but there's the giant hookah with the dude in it, and they're all smoking
the mothos. Yeah.
So that's a great, cool idea.
Yeah.
That I would like to see show up again, because that is a cool sci-fi thing to do to make a species look even more alien than they act.
Yeah, right.
Smoking people. Like in some Jedi, Jabba the Hutt smokes something.
Right.
And it's got a little frog in it.
Yeah.
But this is a human. Like he's just swimming around in there. And she smokes them too.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
A lot of that, weird, just to be weird sci-fi. It's like you can't take it seriously.
You can't.
Which is fine. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but you can't.
No.
And like all the with a time.
How about you push it out?
Oh, what is it called? The way she moves, it's going to take her 4 hours to get there or something.
Yeah, she falls asleep.
And that drive, the temporal drive or something like that. It's all just BS. The positron ray. Right. I think it's funny. She's got this whole spaceship with carpeted everything. Yeah.
To where I don't know if this was intentional or not, but like when she shut the door, she threw all those guns in the closet and shut the door. They didn't make any noise. As if it's to say like she threw them on a soundproof room.
It was carpeted.
And she chooses to sleep on a plastic clear, like hammock kind of thing. And you got this whole room full of comfortable looking carpet, and you sleep on the one thing that looks like it's not comfortable at all.
Right.
It's probably just for that shot.
I'm sure that's what the whole thing was.
But man, it was really cracking me up thinking about that.
It's just that it's all
they stay very close.
Carpeted. The walls, everything, everything, except the control panel
and the art door.
Yeah,
famous painting as the door.
Sunday afternoon in the park or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
I wonder why they went with that.
So do I.
It's a very interesting.
Probably because it's French.
Yeah, probably one.
There's a lot of French stuff.
Yeah. So anyway,
I was just going to say that Jane Fonda was married to Roger Vadim when they made this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, which one was he?
The director.
Because there's the ice guy. I said I know the Harry
the
Hunter. I thought maybe they were a thing before this because they look like they would be the Hollywood couple.
So they organized all of it.
I also like how he's in this very hairy suit. He takes it off. He's just equally hairy.
And
I think that was on purpose.
Yeah.
That they made the suit hairy because he's hairy. You know what I mean? Because that was funny.
Creepy dolls.
The doll part was really good.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
I don't know why she didn't kick him.
Or try.
Yeah. She's like a damsel in distress, an empowered damsel in distress.
Yeah, she in the course of like the first 15 minutes, she gets knocked out like 5 times.
Yeah.
And
those kids knock her out with a rock in a snowball.
Yeah.
By the way, those kids' names are the names of flies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The little pests.
They were. And they knock her out there, and then she passes out when they're biting her.
Yeah.
Because these dolls have metal teeth. It's really cool and creepy.
Yeah, there's a really cool a prop that they use there, too.
Yeah.
It's like they're porcelain dolls.
Yeah.
But the jaws move up and down like that. It's real. And they're painted weird colors.
Yeah.
They're not just like flesh tone. There's like blue ones and green ones. That's a cool thing to do.
They're blank eyes.
Yeah.
It was good. And the whole point was those kids were playing.
Yeah, they weren't trying to be malicious. They're just playing around. And then what do they call those guys? The robots with the whip arms.
Yeah. Black soldiers or black knights, stuff like that.
The black soldiers. They show up with our hunter, and then they show up with like they're the. I don't know if that was intentional. Like the evil city is the one doing all of this, but it's cool to see. Like here's your intro to them, and then they just keep coming.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool world building thing.
Yeah, it was a cool world building because why were they with him?
Yeah,
because they were watching out for him because he's free.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's also you got a cool like it's like this whole area full of ice and snow, and in order to get to the evil city, you gotta burrow underground and find this labyrinth full of people.
Yeah,
who Pirates of the Caribbean did this too, like part of the ship, part of the crew.
Yeah,
where the longer you're there, you start thinking
people in the rocks and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty. It reminded me of Alien.
Yeah,
deleted scene.
When they're
cocooned, Ooh, that's nasty. Yeah, they had like spider webs on them and stuff. That part was cool. So like all the set stuff is really
good. Like
it's the story that sucks.
I almost think that this movie would have been better if there wasn't as long.
Yeah.
B, if there wasn't as much dialogue in it, and you just kind of were left to observe these fantastic worlds.
Right, because they don't explain anything really.
No, it's kind of I like how they just kind of expected you to understand that this is an alien world.
Right, that's it.
And that's it. She's from Earth. She's going to this alien world. That's it. This alien world's got a snowy biome in it. And there you go. It's letting you come to these conclusions without being like, oh, it's the whole ice planet. They don't do that.
Yeah.
And then they show you the underground labyrinth and the evil city.
And the Hygar, the angel guy, he's just walking around a labyrinth blind.
Yeah.
Like, who let him do that?
He lives in a bird nest.
Yeah.
Like that's he's an angel, because I thought he was going to be like half bird.
Right.
I didn't think they'd do the whole angelic thing. Especially if they're going to go so heavy in the bird nest and bird wings and all that. But then they crucify him.
Yeah.
So they go right over to the
and they de-crucify him.
They do.
They say that.
And then they point out, he's like, oh, you saved the evil witch after she tortured you. And she said, well, an angel has no memory.
Yeah, come on.
Well, yeah, like, is it religious imagery, or is it just oversight? You didn't know which one to pick.
Right.
But yeah, the tone of this movie is also kind of all over the place too.
Sure.
You had a lot of strange music choices. Like it was very whimsical and whimsy and all over the place, even when it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like you've got like the death ray is shooting these beings, and like it wasn't like daunting music.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like.
It was upbeat. Yeah, it was not cool. That music did not gel good with what was going on
at all. at all. But I wonder why they decided to do that. Like, why not? Because
I'll bet it was because we need music for this. And then he gave him like a list, and the guy just made music. He didn't watch it. And then come on, I'll bet it was two different things going on at the same time.
Because like John Williams, when he was orchestrating everything, he's watching the movie while he's doing it.
Yeah.
It makes sense if the guy just kind of wrote music and they just said, all right, we'll go with that. Just throw it in there.
Yeah.
The beast that dwells below, that acidic Mothmos creature that lives underneath. I think that's a really cool, because it just is.
Yeah,
like,
and I think this was a book. They could describe it better than they showed it.
But I think it was really cool that it looked like it was like warmed oil and water.
Yeah, and all that. Yeah, I knew you would like that stuff.
It was real cool.
For the same reason I do, because we like Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
It was all very Pink Floyd, like going through space, Mothmos, all that stuff. Weird psychedelic stuff. Yeah, it was cool. Mothmos, by the way, is a lava lamp company.
I was like, did lava lamps come out after this or before this? Because that looks like a giant lava lamp.
Yeah, a lot of it, sometimes it did look like a lava lamp. And it probably was.
Well, yeah, I mean, filmed just like a fish tank full of wax and heat it up. It looks cool. You light it in a certain way, and there you go. It's not that expensive, and you can do really everything with it.
And hey, now there's product placement because we got your company's name.
You got the. It's like calling the like King Kong calling him Pepsi Gorilla.
Yeah, it's exactly
just like that.
Except nobody knew that.
Right.
Well, somebody knew it because I looked it up, but the Mothmos people knew that. But you say I'm going to go get a lava lamp, you don't care.
No,
it's not like rollerblades.
Mm-hmm.
So people best he could. And I walked over and I got it.
I liked a lot of the world building too, in the sense of like how they got around places. Like the kids had the skis, but it was like a stingray instead of like a dog. Like
it looked pretty good too.
Yeah, it did. And the hunters, like Dr. Seuss mobile thing.
It really was Dr. Seuss.
It looked just like out of a Dr. Seuss book, and that's kind of cool because nothing else does this kind of. This is unique to this. Nothing before it or after it has kind of done this.
Yeah,
and it's unique. It keeps this world its own. It's very fresh when you're going into it. It's an original idea.
Like even when she's given all them weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And she only keeps that one pistol, but she gets these like longer gun things. They all have hands on them.
Yeah, they've got hands around it, which is a cool idea because like if you're shooting this gun, it's a good support to have like an arm on you.
Or does it slap people?
Is it a way like to slap somebody like you got a butt of a gun?
That's weird. But that's the parts I enjoyed was the weirdness.
Yeah.
And she is the whatever agent for the Earth that she is, but she's also ditzy too. Lots of times
she is,
and it's just funny that you're not supposed to be the incompetent one that's the hero unless you're Austin Powers. You know what I mean?
I was glad you brought that up because this movie, I was thinking about that, feels like it could have been an Austin Powers movie.
It could have been. And probably Austin Powers was inspired by this, but like Quincy Jones's music is way better. Back in the day, to Austin Powers, all that goofy 60s crap that he did in those movies was good. Would have been better for this.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too, with just how like the shag rugs and how open she is and how the movie has kind of a serious element to it, but it's a comedy. Like they're not taking themselves seriously.
Right.
And it's really a big strength for this movie is that it doesn't take itself very seriously. It's plays fast and loose with how well it wants to be perceived. And I think that actually is really well done.
It is really well done.
Because like you've got she's in the egg they capture her and they feed her to the birds.
Yeah.
Which are thousands of like canaries.
Yeah, parakeets.
The little parakeets. And then he saves her, that the leader of the resistance guy saves her. It's all very serious. And then he like takes a secret exit. And it doesn't work.
Right.
He breaks it and he just kind of sets it on top of the control panel and he use the door. Get out of here. Use the door.
And the lights are like, we have places all over the place, but that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I had it to make it work.
I was wondering if that was even scripted or if that was just improv.
I think it was scripted.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they built it to do that.
Because that's very funny, and he plays it very naturally.
Yeah.
To where I didn't know. I thought that could have been
a real mistake.
A real mistake that they
Maybe
just kind of ran with.
I don't think it was, but it could very well have been.
Or it actually worked the first time, and they did it, and they did take two, and it didn't work.
Right.
He kept going with it, and then they liked that, so they decided to change it. I think that could have been the thing too, but it was funny, and it's especially right after seeing her almost died of a bunch of parakeets to have this happen. I think that's really funny, and they don't ever show her getting hurt.
Right.
It's just like, oh, and then her legs got a tear and has some blood. I think that's kind of of the time and cheesy and fun.
Yeah.
But then you get the reveal that Duran Duran is the villain,
right,
this whole time, which I guess I didn't see that coming.
Well, it's that guy is Duran Duran because she's going after him because he's got the positronic ray.
Yeah,
and he can take over the universe.
Right. I didn't see that coming. I just kind of thought Duran Duran might have been dead somewhere.
Right.
And she was going to beat the evil lady who does have the weapon.
Right.
That's where I thought they were going, but they didn't. And that's even. I like that even more because I didn't see it coming. I thought that was a cool idea. And in the end, it ended up working out really well because I didn't see it coming. And the effects on this, they're not terrible.
No, they're of the time.
They're of the time. They fit. And it was how the movie is. It's got that charm to it. It's not distracting. It's not so bad that
I got distracted once.
Oh, yeah?
Because when she's going to take off, and there's like 3 orb half circle things that like pulsate.
Yeah.
In the first scene, they look little, and then when she's crashed, it's when the part where she crashes into the ground. Yeah, they're huge, and that didn't work.
There's also no there's a tunnel for the ship. There's no tunnel for that giant orb
because they. In a deleted scene, she had a screw kind of thing that would mole its way. And that's how she got there, yeah.
This Blu-ray that I have that I watched doesn't have any other features other than just the trailer.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of impressed by that because
the cover is really cool.
The cover's really cool. It's got this really nice artwork on the inside.
That's really cool.
But the only bonus feature on this is the theatrical trailer.
That's bogus.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, the movie looked good. It was a good transfer. So you can't really complain there. I don't think Barbarella stands the test of time.
I don't either.
I think she faded away.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, to a certain aspect, you can say that about just about any of these old heroes. Like James Bond, Dick Tracy, stuff like that. They're not really around anymore. Flash Gordon. They get that cult following, and that's really what's keeping them around.
Yeah, totally. This is definitely a cult movie. I can't see a wide appeal to it.
But I can see them remaking it. I do think there's an audience for it.
Yeah, if you made it with today's jokes.
Yeah, I think it would be A, real better, and B, become more of the popular thing it was trying to be back in the 60s.
Yeah.
I don't say that about everything, but I do think this one should be remade. I think it would be really cool because we got the Marvel fatigue. They're making all these things. I don't want to see superheroes go away, but maybe we pivot around. Maybe we see different types of superheroes. Right. Maybe they're space cadets who are off trying to save somebody in need.
Or just take another story from the comic from back in the day and just make that.
Adapt that, yeah.
And don't... It would be great if Jane Fonda was in it as a cameo.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't be Barbarella, and it wouldn't have anything to do with this movie. That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
It would just be Barbarella and the Lair.
Just another adventure.
Yeah.
Which is what, it's really, really, you kind of miss out on that. We don't have a lot of episodic media anymore.
No.
Everything's just trying to do the one overarching narrative now.
Yeah.
And I don't really know who
I do.
to blame. Netflix. Oh yeah, I mean with the popularization of like Stranger Things and stuff like
Right,
that.
and they drop lots of times all of them at once, so you can spend 5 hours watching the whole thing.
Just binge.
Yeah.
But I think it would do us as a society a lot of creative justice and help if we went back to that. If instead of
I think so.
we gotta prolong this Captain America movie because we don't know how to tie it into the bigger story.
Yeah.
You just make it a Captain America story.
And have a post-credit scene, or the end of Iron Man where Samuel Jackson's character, Nick Fury, is like, hey, we were going to think of you for a thing, and we'll pass.
Right.
And then that's it. That's all of the overarching that you need.
That's all you need.
Obviously, because it worked. That worked. The way they're doing it now isn't working. And
Fumbling along.
it worked in space because I was like, oh, that's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, because you've got your independent story,
Right.
start to finish. And then there's this could become something big.
Right.
They're doing that in TV shows now, too. Like,
Yeah.
every episode is just another chapter in the same book instead of this episode is this episode and that's
Right.
it. They call those episodes filler.
Yeah,
Which
right.
I find to be hilarious because like it would be really cool to get a couple of these movies, Barbarella, Flash Gordon, the Phantom, who's the Shadow.
Yeah.
Have a couple of those movies and just have them be their own thing. And then maybe bring a couple of them together. Do the Sandman. Sandman's popular right now. You can do it.
Well, they did do that, didn't they?
Well, Netflix had the Sandman for Neil Gaiman Sandman and stuff. So you've got these one-off original characters who people still have interest in.
Yeah.
So just let them do these smaller stories and then tie it into something.
Right.
It
Like the
doesn't have to
Monsterverse.
jump there. Exactly. Just
That
like
they
the
tried
Monsterverse.
to shoehorn everything into it instead of just having a mummy movie, a Dracula movie, and then a Monster Squad,
Yeah.
or whatever, however they do it. That would be cool to have all those guys.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man, Frankenstein, Dracula, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Mummy. Have those movies. They have a Monster Squad movie where they fight Cthulhu.
Yeah.
The bad guys have to fight an ultimate bad guy.
Yeah. And I can see
And that's
the
registered
appeal.
trademark that idea, so don't anybody take it.
Yeah, don't.
I saw the Tom Cruise Mummy movie just because it was on HBO.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like a lot of it was pretty cool. Like with the Van Helsing person, that's Russell Crowe, and that you can see him that they want to make a Monster Squad kind of thing. They're trying to bring this stuff together, and a lot of it just didn't work.
Maybe once the monster.
Yeah, right.
So, because even if you wanted to do like introduce a whole bunch of them in the first one or whatever, you wanted to do something like that, then have that be your focus.
Right.
Have it have the Dr. Jekyll character go
Oh
around
yeah, he's got here.
investigating all of like the Mummy, the Dracula. Have it built like that, and that way you can do this shared universe in your first movie, but have the focus be that,
Right.
not a split focus now to where we're teasing this, it's going to be the next Avengers movie, and it just doesn't come true. A, because you made a bad movie,
Right.
and B, because you've
Nobody saw it to get excited about it.
exactly.
Okay, well, calm down and get away from me. So I did. Cheryl and I, we had our go. And
But yeah, I think this movie in particular, and I think a lot of those old pulpy movies can make a resurgence, and probably because they're kind of timeless.
Right.
You know, like they're not set I mean, they're set in their times, but their times can be whatever. Like, this doesn't have to be the 60s. It doesn't have to look like that. It could look like whatever. I mean, like, Star Trek is still around.
Mm-hmm.
Seth MacFarlane's making that Orville show.
Yep.
Kind of feels like it's set in the same world.
Right, it does.
And it doesn't at all feel out of time. It doesn't feel like he's trying to make a 70s thing. It's just the next Star Trek.
Right.
And I think that'll work with ease. And you're just using these fantastic worlds. They feel fantastic. They're fantastic worlds.
Right.
And that's
the on a fantastic voyage.
And I think it's a huge strength to them. I think that's why they have become such a underculture phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
And why they even people like me who are
it was my idea to watch this.
Yeah, who hear about Barbarella, the queen of the galaxy, and like, well, let's give that a try.
And you hear references to it lots of times.
Yeah,
that's the reason I ever heard of it, was because I was a fan of Duran Duran. And I'm like, why would they have that name? And that's why.
I still don't know that name. Other than it sounds cool. Why not call themselves Barbarella?
Duran was the scientist guy she was going to find.
Well, yeah, I know that, but he's not in it a whole lot.
Now they just talk about him.
Yeah. Also, a weird way to kill somebody with his pleasure machine.
The sex organ.
Yeah.
Get it? That reminded me of that Rick and Morty part where, what's his name? I don't know, the villain's guy has that giant piano and they're all strapped to it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then, what's his name? Tarantula, Coyote, whatever, comes back and saves them. And Rick's like, this is it. This is the time we're going to die. Is it not? Oh, man. It's not Jaguar, is it? Yeah.
The Pickle Rick episode, isn't it?
Pickle Rick.
Yeah, it's like the maestro, and he's like, it'll be like, we're going to C flat.
Yeah.
Slits his throat. That Morty, that's why we don't go to therapy. Right. That's how it ends.
That's how we all and that's okay.
It's not that I wouldn't recommend it, because I would. Anybody can watch this, but just know what you're getting into.
I would only recommend it to people that wanted to see something from the 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everything else is...
There's better stuff.
Yeah.
There just is better stuff. There's better stuff from the 60s. There's better these types of movies. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to give it a shot, go right ahead. But it's not something I could I don't give it flying colors. Check that out. Let's go ahead.
If you were going to have a party where people were drinking and whatever, and doing other stuff and having a good time, and it was on, then that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Or if you just wanted to explore pop culture, this would be a good one to study of the time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But I wouldn't say this is one of my favorite movies. I wouldn't say that about this one.
No.
Man, and all I want to do is compare it to Flash Gordon, because I think it did it so much better.
Like Flash Gordon.
It does. It looks like they could be like Superman, Supergirl. Mm-hmm. They're in the same universe. They're just two different characters doing their own things. I think that
she could easily go to Ming the Merciless as well.
Exactly. Have a whole crossover with these two. That would have been cool.
It would have been.
Especially in the 80s when they were doing a lot of crossovers, like the Transformers and the Ninja Turtles. But I wouldn't say it's god awful.
No, not by a long shot.
Yeah, no. I definitely didn't look at my watch when I was watching this. It kept me pretty involved the entire time. Just at the next thing, where are they going to go from here?
What's next?
Yeah, how are you going to? Where is this going? Overall, I would say maybe like a 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, at the most.
It's fine. I think that's probably its biggest flaw, is that it is just fine.
Yeah,
there's nothing to write home about, but it's also nothing to just completely hate.
Yeah, and from a filmmaker standpoint, it's just they put the camera here and it's a play. Lots of times.
Yeah. Not a lot of crazy camera work in this.
None
whatsoever. Very basically lit. Everything. It felt like it was shot on a stage.
Oh yeah.
You know,
lots of times it looked exactly like a
it
stage.
looked like they built a stage, a sound stage.
And that's fine too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it looked good. It looked cool.
Oh yes, it did.
It just didn't look like in the world. It looked small.
But a lot of movies like this, you're not going to compare it to like the big movie of that year, with stuff like Ben-Hur.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to.
Or 2001.
2001, The Ten Commandments, like those movies that were like.
Those special effects are way better than this.
They were spectacles, you know. This wasn't even trying to be that. It was just
they demand.
This was a summer movie. You know, like, all right, well, yeah, that check. You'll be released this weekend.
It's pop art.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And I think they knew that was part of the point.
Oh, 100%.
Because I think Igar is
I'm happier now.
in Andy Warhol's Frankenstein.
Oh, really?
I think he plays the monster. Yeah, I could be wrong about that. I forgot to look it up. But those two movies, he made a Dracula and a Frankenstein movie. He made it. He just produced them. But
am I speaking English to you?
This belongs with those. So I guess if you like, if you've never seen Barbarella, but you have seen Andy Warhol's Frankenstein or something, then you would enjoy this. It's very much like that.
Yeah. I haven't seen Andy Warhol's Frankenstein.
They're all right. You see the dragon one?
No, I didn't know Andy Warhol made anything other than pop art.
Well, it's in the factory they made stuff, and like so you could go there, and if you have an idea, he's going to help you do it.
Oh.
So people have ideas. That's how it's Andy Warhol's, because he didn't direct it or write it or anything.
That was just his place.
That's how I found out who Udo Kier is, and then
baby sea turtle pops up right next to
he's in both of those movies. He's a star of both of them. Udo Kier is, and he's a really good actor. And I think he was underused for too long. But also, like Andy Warhol made a movie that was 8 hours long, the guy sleeping. It's just weird, stupid stuff lots of times.
Yeah, he was, I don't want to say like that kind of artist. He was an exhibitionist kind of guy.
Sure, yeah.
You know, with a very surrealistic kind of look to things.
It's the surrealism is. I don't think it's not like other surreal stuff like Persistence of Time painting. Was it Salvador Dali? Yeah, he was way more surreal.
Oh,
I mean, like his heart was more surreal, whereas Andy Warhol's was more. Oh, everybody's gonna be famous for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So where did you end up streaming this?
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yeah.
Voodoo's got everything.
I guess.
Voodoo is it's a free website. You just pay for what you want, and then I love it. I have it. It's definitely something I would suggest.
Yeah,
especially if you want to kind of get into collecting things again. It's not unlike Amazon, where like you don't technically own it. Right. Even if you buy it, if they want to get it off its sub, you're screwed.
That's ridiculous.
It's terrible. It's such a business stealing. It is. It's 100. You're renting a movie
for however long they
want you to. Yeah. Whereas Voodoo, like, none of that goes away.
Right. And it's if you want to collect stuff just for the actual movie, or something, that's the way to go. Because physical media is awesome.
It is.
But I don't. If you don't have the room for it,
that's the problem. That is the problem. I am running out of space.
Yeah.
And but I love it. I love that I got back into it. The Voodoo also does a lot of the bonus features too. Bonus features on like Netflix and stuff like that. But if you buy Jurassic Park on Voodoo, you get a bunch of bonus features, and I think they so like if I bought their Jurassic Park movie and Universal put out another one with more bonus features on it, I think they just update your copy and just put them on there because you've already bought it,
right?
And I think that's a great idea, and I find it hard for people to compete with that. And it might be why it's like the only, like Fandango at home is now this.
Right.
Like they are all coming into this, and I think Walmart owns it.
Oh, really?
I think they do because
Probably.
they advertise back when like in 2016 was the last time I remember seeing this. Like they would advertise stuff for Voodoo specifically. Like they'd sell you a pizza, you get a Voodoo gift card to watch a movie.
Right.
They you buy the Ghostbusters, the new 2016 Ghostbusters movie, and they'd give you points to get a Voodoo movie.
Right.
So I think they had a partnership or something.
Something.
And for a while there, like if I bought this secondhand, I could scan the barcode and get a discount on buying it.
That's cool.
Which is really, so they had the disc to digital whole thing. They were really a powerful collector's thing that is, I'm very happy is still around. And you can download your movies and take them on the go. It's really,
take them on the go is the thing too.
It really is. Oh my God. So many car rides I've spent watching Goodfellas and The Wolf of Wall Street.
But I think like HBO sometimes will have special features. So does Disney Plus once in a while, but lots of them are
trailers.
It's just trailers or like fluff pieces that Entertainment Tonight didn't want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of a shame, but
it is. That was the best thing I loved about DVD when it first came out, and man, I got my money's worth out of them.
VHS never did. They couldn't do it.
No,
bonus features.
They could do some, and some did have stuff at the end of movies, but you got to find that amount of tape.
Yeah,
you do have to find that amount of memory space on a DVD, but it's
huge.
Yeah.
Like some of these Blu-rays come with straight up documentaries now on the movie.
Well, DVDs too, the Star Wars prequels.
They have
those 3 feature-length documentaries.
Yeah, they should have put those in movie theaters. They should have released those separately because they're that good.
Yeah, they are.
They're that good.
Especially the first and third one.
Yeah,
I think.
Because he was
I was going to bring something else up. Oh, did you ever watch anything on Laserdisc? Do you know if that?
No. Yes, I did. Actually, I watched A Clockwork Orange on Laserdisc in high school because most people didn't have those. They were very expensive.
Yeah,
very expensive, and people didn't give a crap about it like they do after VHS. So yeah, and then halfway through, I turned it over, play the other half.
The Criterion Collection had a bunch of Laserdiscs.
Yeah,
that. Like Ghostbusters is in the Criterion Collection, but it's a Laserdisc.
Wow.
Ported it over.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, they probably can't get the rights to it anymore to port it over.
Right.
But I would love that. I kind of want to get the Laserdisc of Ghostbusters, being a Ghostbusters fan myself.
I would just want it because it's so big.
It's so big.
The picture would be big. And I don't want to talk about the case.
Well, they did. Laserdisc was the heavy pusher for the pan and scan technology, which Quentin Tarantino, I guess, was a huge fan of, and decides never to use it on his own movies.
Good,
because it's terrible.
I saw late at night one time. Pulp Fiction was on, and I swear to God, they were showing. It was the one scene I couldn't watch. It was this bad. Jules and what's his name? Vincent are talking in the car, and at one point you see the space in between them, and you don't even see who's talking. It's terrible.
That's hilarious.
On the other hand, one time late at night I saw Throw Mama from the Train, and I was like, this part's not in the movie because I used to watch on VHS all the time.
And that's all the opposite.
And it was like an extended director's cut or something, and
15, 20 off.
I was like, wow, this is awesome. So you get both things sometimes. That was god awful. It was unwatchable.
Not everybody can be an officer.
I'm not. Blu-ray is really as far as I go. I don't really get anything on 4K. Just because I don't need it. I think Blu-ray looks great enough. We've talked about this before.
I can't tell the difference.
You got to get enough TV and get enough player. DVD looks great.
Yeah. Sounds great too.
Sounds great too. So I'm not really a big pusher for like 4K stuff, but really, man, once DVD hit, show's over.
Yeah.
Like it was
too.
perfected.
It was. It really was. And especially. Oh, man. Most people didn't know what letterbox meant. Normies didn't. And I was like, this is great. Because, like, this is sound, but like, the Magnificent Seven. Yeah. There's one scene in the Magnificent Seven. I saw it on VHS forever. And Steve McQueen says to Yul Brynner, how many do you got? And he just stares back at him. Like you're looking at it. So I did letterbox, and I think that's better. That he's just staring at him. And then Steve McQueen puts 2 fingers up. He goes, okay. And in the real version, over here, he goes like this. How many people you got? Meaning himself, he sticks 1 finger up.
You know.
But it's better when he just stares at him because he's such badass guys. That's the only time I think Pan's game is good. Was that 1 second.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a really cool, badass thing to do, too.
The reason I was laughing is because your grandfather, your mother's dad, I was like, why would you want to, with them cutting the top and the bottom of the screen off? That's not what it is. Then I had explained that if the shape of film is different, then it's a wonder that DVD took off and that Letterboxd did, because most people are like that. Why would I want to watch a third of the screen? It's smaller.
Well, Joey even, because like I like widescreen. Joey likes full screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you want to be zoomed in so far on everything? It's like, why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to?
Right.
Because I wanted to see the whole thing, and they shot this whole thing. Winston got cut out.
Yeah. And lots of stuff like in Star Wars, the scene where he's standing there, it looks so much better when you can see the whole sky.
Yeah.
No matter which version of that movie you watch, it's always better to see that panoramic, almost.
It's so good. Well, maybe Star Wars has this to thank. Maybe because they have
to an extent,
they have a snowy planet. Maybe George saw this and said, "That's a good idea. Let's go to the snow planet."
Maybe.
We're gonna do that. But yeah, I bet he watched this, and I bet all this kind of this was the stuff he loved.
Yeah.
You know, so I bet the George would be like, "Yeah, this is a great movie."
The funny thing is, this is the stuff he loved, and he wanted to make Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And THX 1183 and Star Wars look nothing like any of those.
Nothing. You know, I was thinking that too, because I was watching StarCraft the other day, which is a movie I really want to talk to you about. They wanted to do Star Wars, but everything looks so bad. And because like what George and his team did was they cannibalized a bunch of model kits to make all of this stuff. And none of it looks plastic.
None of it.
Everything in Star Crash looks plastic. All of it. And I wonder why that is.
Well, I think it's just that they got more talented people.
Yeah.
And dedicated people that are talented want this to look a certain way, whereas other people are like, oh, look how cool this is. I did. I'm going to go play basketball.
That's true. Well, I mean, Roger Corman did Star Crash. Like, you know, he's very talented.
He is talented and cheap.
And very cheap. But yeah, if you haven't seen Barbarella, I would definitely suggest it just to kind of get into the culture. But other than that, I wouldn't say, go out of your way to watch it.
No, you gotta go out of your way to watch it. And you can watch it in pieces.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If you feel like psychedelic today, pop some of it in and have it in the background while you're cleaning the house.
Every 15 minutes, it kind of feels like it could be a different episode.
Yeah.
But that was Barbarella. Thank you for joining. I have been Cheese Phil.
And the Hackubus.
And Mr. Hackubus. We will see you next week. Unless you had something else you wanted to throw in about it. I think we got it.